October 23rd, 2017. And let me just start off with this, guys. All right. So, we all know the band, The Beatles, was one of the most iconic bands ever. And just stick with me here on what I'm going with. And I'm comparing the Beatles to the Golden State Warriors. And just once again, stick with me here. The Beatles were the first band ever to have a song over 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They were the ones to start and change music forever. And who else has done that now? Look at the NBA. The Golden State Warriors have started a revolution with this three-ball era. Yes, people consider them a super team, but they mostly got their picks through drafts like Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and of course Steph Curry. Kevin Durant came after he saw how much fun they were having and what they could do. What happened with the Beatles? Many people started copying them. The Rolling Stones started copying them. And now what's going on? The Rolling Stones are the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets have completely changed their philosophy with their GM looking to shoot more threes and quicker points than has ever been done. And Golden State is doing just that as well. What happened with the Beatles, though, which I'm scared to see might happen with the Warriors, is the Beatles became great. And they became too great that everyone started getting mad at each other, and they just kind of started separating their own ways. Obviously, there was someone else involved with John Lennon, and then something else happened, but we don't need to go into that. Is that going to happen to the Warriors? Are they going to become this great team that maybe wins 2 in a row, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, maybe even 3 out of 4 NBA Finals championships? But how long will they stay together? But what they have done has changed the game of basketball forever, and the NBA is changing now more than ever. A great way to look at this is someone that's stuck in the past, and that's the NBA, or in New Orleans Pelicans, rather. The New Orleans Pelicans decided to go with a bigger lineup, and they barely beat the Lakers last night. And they let the Lakers come back into the game. And personally, I love the Lakers coming from Los Angeles. I'm an Angelino, but that team is not very good. They beat the Suns by 2 points, and the Suns fired their coach. So that's just a crazy take that the New Orleans Pelicans are stuck in the past. They still think that that team can be a great team. And I don't even know if the New Orleans Pelicans, I know they'll probably get to the NBA playoffs, but will they go much farther than that? I don't think so. I think the Western Conference is just too good and too strong for DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis to carry a team when all these other teams are shooting threes and they're maybe making their 2 points on some spot-up jumpers inside the line. So that's my first take today. Now let's jump into football. The NFL has been wild this season. It's just emphasized by not great quarterback play. There's only one great quarterback, or not one, but there's a couple great quarterbacks in the league, and I still think only one, and that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is looking like a monster. Coming off that Falcons win last night where they just dominated the Falcons. Yes, it was foggy. There's a lot of things that can go into that. They're playing at home, but I think they've scored, they were saying 45 points, 45-7 since they were down 24-3 in the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady is just playing so well and so methodical that they can't really stay down for that long. Their defense is one of the worst defenses anyone's ever seen, historically bad. And yet they still find a way to win with Tom Brady. And their new pickup or acquisition, Brandon Cooks, has been really working out for him. But it's just Tom Brady is the glue that keeps that team together. Let's look into some of the other games through the NFL this week. A big game for me was the Cardinals Rams, not because it was two great teams. I think the Rams are on the up, and I think the Cardinals are on the down. But Carson Palmer might have played his last game ever in London, and he didn't even get to play it at home against Forest fans. He broke his left arm in a play that was a completely fair play. He just broke it. And that's what happens to older players when they're still playing. Their team is kind of relies on them, but they're gonna go down. That's what makes Tom Brady so amazing is that he doesn't get hurt. He figures out a way to keep on going. So the Rams won in London 33-0 and shut out the Cardinals. Another big game this weekend was the Thursday night game where the Chiefs lost to the Raiders. The Chiefs were the last undefeated team, and now they've lost 2 in a row. The Chiefs are still looking good. They still have a great team, but I think the loss of Eric Berry is finally starting to show, and they have just come back to their senses, as it were. Their team has been good, but not great. And that's kind of why the NFL's having trouble this year. Jerry Jones thinks it might be the flag protest, but personally, I think it's because there's not great quarterback play. And what do we watch the games for? We watch to see great players. Like, yes, defense is great to have, and it'll win you championships, but it will not get the viewers to watch the games. It's not fun to watch 3-0 games. And let's bring it to a game that actually was like that this weekend. My team, the Vikings, against the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are struggling like always, but they always have a solid defense. The game was 9-12 going into halftime, and I love watching the Vikings games, but this game was almost unwatchable. The game was just slow and hard to watch because there was nothing really going, and that's the thing with defense. If there's a good defense, nothing seems like it's working right because all the passes are going in and out. Right now, the Vikings defense is one of the best in the league for sure. Ravens have always had a good defense, but watching a game that's 9-12 or 9-6 going into halftime, that's just not good enough. Another game, big game this weekend for me, and one of the crazier games was the Panthers versus the Bears. The Panthers are in a tough division because of the Falcons. Tampa Bay looked good at the beginning of the season. They're not looking so hot now because they just lost to the Bills. But bringing it back to the Panthers, Cam Newton is an amazing athlete. Great player. He has a cannon for an arm, and he can run. He's like a big running back there with a huge arm. But he's not disciplined. His team relies on him to help people out, and he doesn't help them out. Their team, the Panthers that is, they couldn't score at all yesterday against the Bears. The Bears got 14 points on pick sixes. So they had 2 pick sixes, both by the Alabama safety that were taken back, obviously implying the pick six. But Cam Newton just can't throw some of those throws. I remember one of the throws he was rolling to his right, and he didn't want to get sacked, so he tried to make something out of nothing, and he threw it right to Danny Trevathan. And that's probably going to be the easiest catch Danny Trevathan will ever have all year. He was just so lucky. Cam Newton just put it in his hands. So what is Cam going to do? Cam, his best year ever was obviously his MVP year, and they brought him to the Super Bowl. But Cam maybe has 3 or 4 years left. He's not disciplined enough to keep the game going and put his team on his back. 2 weeks ago when he did have a great play, he juked the safety, made it in for the touchdown. What happened after he scored the touchdown? Everyone came over to congratulate him, and Cam said, no. You guys wait. This is about me. It's not about us. That just shows terrible leadership on a quarterback's part. Terrible leadership. And let's just jump again into another crazy game this weekend, which would have been obviously the Saints and Packers. The Saints have been on the rise, ascending, as it were, in the NFL season to a better team. The team is looking good. You always have Drew Brees, but their defense is playing well too. And they had their hands full with Aaron Rodgers' replacement, UCLA grad Brett Hundley. Brett Hundley played really well, and he didn't play like the other Brett used to play for the Packers, but he played well enough to give them a chance in this game, and that's all you can ask for. The Saints were just a little bit better coming out, but they won the game. But Brett Hundley looks good. I don't think Brett Hundley can take the Packers to the playoffs now. I think the NFC North is going to be the Vikings coming out of it. With Case Keenum, it looks like Teddy Bridgewater is back in practicing. We'll see how he does, but that is still a work in progress, as it were. Now let's jump back into the NBA season with some crazy games this week. I'm so excited to have the NBA back. Like, yes, the NFL is great to watch, but it doesn't happen every week. And lately there's been a lot of blowouts, such as the Dallas and 49er game. That was impossible to watch. Ezekiel Elliott scored 2 touchdowns like within 5 minutes, and the game was over before the game even started. But let's talk about the NBA. 2 teams I think that are going to be really good in the West are the Timberwolves and Thunder, and they played on Sunday, and it was a great game. The best finish of the NBA season so far, maybe one of the best finishes of the NBA season altogether. It was just amazing. The way the game ended was Russell Westbrook. They were down by 2 points. Russell Westbrook made a move, passed it out to Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony hit a 3. That's why they brought Carmelo Anthony in this year. They brought him in so he can make those big shots, and he can make shots when they need him to. And he made them. But what happened? The young stud Andrew Wiggins came up big. He got the ball from the left-hand side. It might have been a questionable moving pick to get him open in the backcourt, but he ran all the way down through the center of the court and banked it in for 3, and the Timberwolves won on Oklahoma City's court. I love watching a game like that. It is just so much fun. That's why the NBA is so great this year. The parity through the league is not great. Like Michael Jordan said, I don't believe there's only 2 great teams and 28 bad ones. I believe there's 2 elite teams, then there's probably 5 great teams. But the 5 great teams are all coming out of the West and not the East. Yes, the Cavaliers are good. Milwaukee is, in my opinion, the second best team now after what happened to the Celtics. And now we just need to see what happens. The Timberwolves are going to be a very interesting team. They got Butler, they got Wiggins. They might be 2 or 3 in the West this year. I still think the Golden State Warriors are going to get on track and get back to it. And now let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, are looking like they might start unraveling. And I know it's still early in the game, but at the end of the game when they were playing the Grizzlies, they were down, I think it was 10 points with a minute left. Golden State's guard, Steph Curry, the only unanimous MVP, went up for a layup, made the layup, didn't get an and one, and just was furious with the ref, and he decided to throw his mouth guard at him, and he got ejected. I mean, there's nothing come down from the NBA yet that I've seen, but I feel like he might get another game against him because you can't do anything like that to the refs. And then Kevin Durant came to back him up, and he also got kicked out of the game as well. The problem here is that the Golden State Warriors are not playing like they should play. Maybe it's a championship hangover because let's look at their offseason. Like, their offseason, it's been pretty ridiculous right now. It has been just full of things where Kevin Durant was using a secret Twitter, and then he had to talk about it at the expo, the technology expo. I think it was Crunch. And he was just he's so excited that he had that ring, but they need to work harder, and they almost think it's expected that they're going to be in the NBA Finals. Yes, we can expect it as broadcasters, as fans, as just a lay person, but they can't expect it on the team. They have to fight just as hard as they fought before last year to get another ring. And losing to the Grizzlies shows that they are not what they used to be this year. And the West is loaded. It's always going to be loaded. And they just need to understand that they need to work hard. Kevin Durant, as he's walking off the Memphis floor, he's pointing to his ring finger, saying that, yes, he got a ring. But I understand you have a ring, Kevin, but that doesn't mean your career's over. You can't just say, oh, I got one ring, it's cool. Now, that's it, guys. That's it. It's good. No need for anybody else to worry about anything. We got one ring. If that's what Kevin Durant wants to settle on, that's what he wants to settle on, but that's not how it should be. All right. Now we're going to go to one of my favorite subjects right now because, once again, I am an Angelino, the Dodgers. The Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to be in the World Series this year. The Dodgers are favored, as they should be, because they basically ran through the playoffs this year, barely losing the one game they did lose, only on their fourth pitcher giving up 3 home runs, and the Dodgers couldn't come back from it. They almost came back from it, but they couldn't. Now the Houston Astros are coming in with some great pitching. Morton looks good. Let's see how they can do. Verlander's obviously really good. But the Los Angeles Dodgers are hot right now. Just on fire. Justin Turner, the most memorable home run in the postseason since Kirk Gibson at Dodger Stadium, and they are looking good. Kike Hernandez just bombing home runs in the last game of the Chicago Cubs series to get over those demons they had last year. And now let's see what's going to happen in the Major League Baseball World Series. The one thing about Major League Baseball World Series that's different, in my opinion, than any other sport in America is you don't know who's going to win. I mean, obviously you don't know who's going to win it from the beginning, but you kind of know who's going to the finals in basketball. Let's be honest. I think it's going to be the Warriors in Cleveland again. You kind of have a good idea who's going to be playing in the NFL. Yes, I like that more because it's a one-game playoff, so you really never know who's going to win that certain game. But I have to be honest, I think the Patriots, if they come back and their defense starts pulling together under that Bill Belichick system, they will become a great team, and they will probably make it back to the playoffs. The NFC is a little bit more dodgy because people are up and down. I thought the Packers would have had a great chance this year, but now with Aaron Rodgers out, I don't know if they can even make it to the playoffs. So we shall see. But bringing it back to the baseball World Series, it's a toss-up in the air. It's really about who's going to be able to pitch better. Will Clayton Kershaw be able to get over his postseason woes? Will he be able to play better than he has for most of the postseason in his career? That's his problem. It always has been his problem, but we need to understand where he's going to be able to go after this. Then they have, who was it? Rich Hill pitching game 2. Yu Darvish, their only right-handed pitcher, pitching game 3, which they think is going to be good because Yu's been in Texas pretty much his whole career, so we'll see how that goes. And then Alex Wood, their young pitcher coming up. We shall see if he can do something. if he can come back from. He didn't have a terrible outing against the Chicago Cubs, but it wasn't good enough for them to win the game. So we'll see if that. I'm so excited to see that. I really want to see the Dodgers win. I already have my trade ticket bought. I'm going back to LA